Your Excellency Ronald Lamola, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, United Nations Representative Mr. Masemba, CEO of Freedom Park Dr. Jane Mohammadi, Ibrahim Aish, head of the Gift of the Givers media team in Palestine and the Middle East, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellency Saleh Omar Abdu, Dean of Arab Ambassadors, Your Excellency Mahsh Al-Hamili, dignitaries, colleagues, ambassadors, friends, and peace-loving people. Good evening to you all. Masal khair. Good evening to Gaza, our beloved city, which is today in its 416 days of genocide. It's very ironic what I'm going to say now, that in a country that has 11 official languages, I am running out of words. I am running out of words as an ambassador, as a woman, as an activist, as a wife, and as a mother, and above all, as a human being. We Palestinians, we do not trust words anymore. Words have become meaningless for us and are insufficient to describe our reality, our pain, and our suffering. For the last 416 days, the world has watched Israel, the occupying power, in real time, bombing, burning, shooting us. Whether it's newborn babies in incubators, United Nations staff, journalists, medics, aid workers, refugee camps, hospitals, schools, shelters, and places even of worship, churches and mosques. The occupying power has the audacity to tell the world that it is acting under the pretext of self-defense, both in Gaza and Lebanon. That there have been no consequences for the occupying power is largely due to the diplomatic and political protection that the murderous Israeli regime receives, especially at the United Nations Security Council. During the last year, almost 45,000 Palestinians have been killed through Israel's direct bombing and shelling. Experts project that eventually more than 186,000 Palestinians will die in Gaza through malnutrition, healthcare shortages, and unsanitary conditions deliberately created by the genocidal actions of the occupying power. That is a staggering 8% of Gaza's population of 2.4 million people. Today, as we begin the United Nations campaign of 16 days of no violence against women and children, I beg you to bear in mind that it is the Palestinian women and children who are the main targets of the Israeli occupation. More than 70% of those killed in Gaza have been women and children. Israel has killed at least 17,400 children in Gaza in the last year. That is one child killed every 30 minutes. Every half an hour, there is a child killed. Gaza now has the highest number of child abductees in the world. Freedom-loving nations in the global South and peace-loving people from around the globe can now see beyond Israel's propaganda. In this regard, South Africa leads on various fronts. South Africa has led international legal efforts to hold the occupying power accountable, particularly at the International Court of Justice, where South Africa's legal team provided compelling evidence of Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. Since January 2023, South Africa has been back at the ICJ 3 times to have emergency measures implemented. This is a victory for us, a victory for human rights, a victory for justice, and a powerful moral statement. Minister Lamola and his predecessor, Minister Naledi Pandor, are highly appreciated, and their efforts are recognized by the Palestinian people and the Palestinian leadership and all the peace-loving nations. We also recognize the efforts of Director General, who couldn't make it with us today, Zain Dangor, and the legal team and their support staff, who presented evidence of Israel's genocide in a clear but human and compassionate manner, and who have pursued the case by presenting South Africa's memorial this October. To say thank you to them is insufficient. It is difficult for me to express our gratitude to them. South Africa, too, has been central in the recent issuance of arrest warrants for Israeli war criminals by the International Criminal Court. But it's not just the government of South Africa that stands with the Palestinian people. I must salute the hundreds of thousands of South Africans that filled streets in almost every city in this country, from every race, religion, and ethnicity, from grassroots solidarity groups and young activists to high-level diplomats and government officials. That solidarity is also expressed through groups like Gift of the Givers and its projects for Palestinian students that support the education of Palestinians through a number of interventions, and through the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund and Dr. Ismail Maita, who I saw here among us, we salute him also, and his team in the Raslo Hotel, in the Raslo Private Hospital, which has treated Palestinian children injured by Israel. They received a number of cases and they treated them. They were targeting only children. This support from South Africa, combined with the resilience and steadfastness of the Palestinian people back home in occupied Palestine and those in exile, is what keeps the flame of Palestinian liberation burning and is what keeps our narrative alive. This is not a war or a conflict, as many Western media outlets portray. This is not about retrieving hostages or terminating the resistance movements. This is displacement, disposition, reoccupation, and reestablishing of settlements. This is a project to erasure against the Palestinian people on every level. Even UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East, which served Palestinians displaced in 1948 and their dissidents in refugee camps in Gaza, West Bank, East Jerusalem, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and all over the world, is seen as a threat, and now there are attempts to shut it down. The occupying power and its allies are not targeting only Palestinians in occupied Palestine, but they are targeting also millions of Palestinians scattered in refuge all over the world. What is needed now, dear comrades and friends, is a collective call from the international community for a ceasefire immediate one. I know it's overdue after 400 days, but this is what we need. We need an end to the Israeli occupation so that we can finally exercise our right of self-determination. We can finally establish our own state as everyone else, and as our right ensured in the international legitimacy. We need a vigorous campaign of international solidarity, pressure and support, similar to those that ultimately brought the South African apartheid down in South Africa. I like always to quote the Mozambican freedom fighter and leader Samuel Michel when he said, I quote him, "International solidarity is not an act of charity. It is an act of unity between allies fighting on different terrains toward the same objectives." I close the quote. This guides both the people and government of South Africa, including Your Excellency Minister Lamola. Minister Lamola is the embodiment of true solidarity that goes beyond symbolic words and empty rhetoric. He is demonstrating the type of international solidarity that Palestinians need in these distinct times. Here, allow me, Your Excellency, to call upon you on behalf of President Mahmoud Abbas, President of the State of Palestine. It gives me great honor to award Your Excellency, Minister Lamola, the Star of Merit of the Order of the State of Palestine in recognition of your distinguished role in promoting the relations between Palestine and South Africa, and in appreciation of your effort in supporting the Palestinian people and their just cause for freedom and independence.